And what's up again, everybody? Welcome into yet another oh-so-important matchup here in Season number 2 of BOILeR. Let me get some music going on here, as this one's going to be kind of epic. So on the left-hand side, we have Miss AwesomeitsAmy, your Houston representative. And tonight, she's got a tough task ahead of her. She's going to be taking on undefeated CobaltStreak, who is looking to finish off his second straight regular season here in BOILeR, undefeated, trying to go 16-0. Great salad. You're not listening to me either. I love you guys, seriously, but you're going overboard, guys. Seriously, I love you all. On that note, though, like I said, Cobalt gonna look to go undefeated in another regular season here. He's already the #1 overall seed throughout the playoffs, so really doesn't have anything but pride to play for here, but we all know Cobalt. He's not laying down for anybody. I may be able to name one person. Anyways, moot point. Long bad joke there. Anyways, so we're going to do a best 2 out of 3 race using Isaac, the same save file. As you see, both have the D6. They have Platinum God, so every item's unlocked. Best 2 out of 3 through the womb 2. We're off and racing. Best of luck to you both. Ooh, Cobalt's item not so great with Mom's Pad, so a quick reset for him. Amy's got Distant Admiration. That attack fly is going to orbit around her, doing pretty decent damage to anything it hits. That, however, is a better start porting into a God Room. That is the only way you can get into those on the first floor. Getting Blood of the Martyr, so nice damage up on his tiers right off the bat. I'm never PG. I'm also never PC, so, you know, anything with basically the letter P in it probably doesn't describe me too well. Anyways, on the way down, again, there's 7 banned items. Nobody can pick up any of these. You can re-roll them, though. List includes Dr. Fetus, Epic Fetus, Ipecac, Dead Sea Scrolls, Holy Bible, Toothpicks, and the Shovel. Toothpicks are the exception. You can take those or roll them. Now, let's see, Cobalt finding pills. That's a little bit risky. He'll probably just take one. Ooh, indeed, gonna take them with him. I'll be damned. Ah, now I see why he just wanted to drop that bomb outside. I understand now. So gonna take his D6 back with him. I thought the pills would be a little too risky. On into his first boss fight, where Amy's already taken on Steve. Excuse me, Steven. Boy, I can speak. So she'll wind up with 1 of 2 Steven items here. Cobalt ripping on through Duke of Flies himself, just catching up to her, almost equal on damage. And we'll get Little Steve for Amy, so a follower with homing tears. And for Cobalt, we got the Cat of 9 Tails, so plus, I believe it's 20-some-odd% shot speed, and I forget the exact total, but your shots travel faster on screen. Ooh, Skeleton Key early on. That's a, well, worthwhile challenge room, so Cobalt's going to face a few extra enemies here, which actually all seem to spawn on him in one fell swoop, so there's 2 of his waves of enemies. Every now and then that'll happen to you. So here comes his 3rd wave, but again, this will be the last of the enemies he has to take out. 99 keys now for Cobalt, so he'll be able to get into any locked item. Really? It had to spawn the 100th key just for show right there? That's evil. Ooh, not so evil. Stigmata in this case. Damage up and 1 more health container for Cobalt, so his run's looking even nicer. And again, we'll take that item rock, couple of pennies out of there as well. 2 soul hearts for him. So Amy's going to have to hope for some type of really ridiculous damage item at this point. We got a lot of tier damage increased on Cobalt's side. He's already got red tears on the 2nd floor. Let me get you a link here. Oh, thank you very much, Muted. And Nosh, for that matter, you both beat me to it. I type slow. So Cobalt into his store, might hang on to this for a second. He does have a soul heart he could purchase in there, but he'll hang on to this money. Again, Amy found her 2nd item room and boss fight. Demon Baby, so another follower here. Excuse me, which will automatically fire out tears to anything he gets nearby. But again, down at half a heart, she does have that Lover's card, which will spawn 2 red hearts for her. First things first, she's going to check out what's in here. I like this idea, so 1 more health container for her. There's that Lover's card for the heal. Reason she kept herself at low health was you can only get into those Blood Sword rooms, the Blood Challenge rooms, if you have 1 red heart or less remaining. So she waited just a second there, basically a full heal and that health container increase. But as you see on the right side, Cobalt into his 2nd boss fight already, taking on Blighted Ovum, a very easy boss. He just lead it around this pattern here. Try not to get hit by that Brimstone, which if it's in the corner, sometimes they're screwed. So Devil Deal and health increase. Oh goodness, how about Brimstone on Cobalt's side? Doesn't have enough blue hearts to pick up that Guppy's paw, so he'll leave it behind. But huge shot changer here with Brimstone for CobaltStreak. You see it reaches all the way from one side of the screen to the other, and you can very easily hit multiple enemies with this. So huge, huge find, especially with all that damage he has already. Ooh, golden key, kind of unnecessary. Would have been infinite keys for the floor. And there's the 99th key spawning again. This game, man, I'm telling you, you pick up the skeleton key, it's like it only spawns keys for you from then on out. But Amy on into her 2nd boss fight as Larry Jr., the champion green version, which will fire out a few extra shots. Nothing too scary. especially if that troll bomb works for her. Very nice. That worked out beautifully. So more health up. Well, actually, that is a full heal, including a couple extra soul hearts, and Amy will be on down to the caves. Ravager Notch. Alright, very nice quick double bomb there by Cobalt. That's another thing I never really think to do to save myself that time, is drop both of those bombs at once. I tend to do one and then run away from it. So Judgy, you're a little bit out of reach. We'll leave him behind. Amy immediately finding her boss fight here for Caves 1. And again, Cobalt, I should have pointed out, working on an XL floor here in the cave, so he's going to have 2 item rooms and 2 back-to-back boss fights to come across. Still just 1 store, 1 secret, and 1 super secret room. Basically one of anything else, so you kind of get screwed out of 1 entire floor worth of, let's say, Devil Deal possibility, God Room possibility, arcades, for example. Libraries come to mind. But you don't, or you're only going to get 1 of those on these XL floors, I should say. So it kind of screws you over, possibly, but at the same point, maybe time-wise it helps you. And speaking of that, we got Amy fighting her boss fight here on Caves 1, and we'll see about her decision. She has no keys and hasn't found her item room yet. So we'll see, maybe, just maybe, she lucks out. Let's find, or maybe she finds a God Room and gets an item that makes up for not having an item room on this floor. We'll see how this plays out momentarily. She's just about done with the holo. Cobalt's still looking for any of his special rooms. There's his 2 boss fights. And again, there's that God Room, so Amy got lucky there, like I was saying. And with Guardian Angel, it gets a double speed orbital to block shots and damage anything it contacts. And there's your answer. So with that speed increase as well, gonna head right on down to her caves too. Cobalt's gonna forget about his item rooms as well. He's plenty happy with this Brimstone, his plus damage, and that health he has already. So on into his first of 2 back-to-back boss fights, he's taking on Pestilence. And again, he'll wind up with an orbital single-speed cube of meat that'll block shots, and likewise with Amy's, also do damage to anything it runs in contact with. And there it is for him. So he'll move on to his second boss fight here for the caves. Ooh, and the Fallen, a guaranteed free Devil Deal item at the end of this. So anything out of the Devil Deal pool might spawn here. And again, the only thing you have to watch out for in this league, the shovel is one of those possibilities, so you can't stand where this item's going to spawn just in case it is that banned shovel. But again, with that D6, if it is, Cobalt would get to reroll it, so anything is possible here. And in this case, the Pact, one of the best things he could have gotten, fire rate increase, plus damage on his tiers, another Devil Deal. Not the greatest of items, though. He'll leave behind both Monster Manuel and Guppy's Tail and move on down to his depths as he has finished off his caves. He's happy without his 2 items, and I'm not surprised by this. And with that damage on Brimstone, I would literally be content. I wouldn't care about finding item rooms. I just, as Cobalt, would want to see my 2 boss fights show up. And the quicker the better, because the less damage you can worry about taking, the better off you're going to be. And he'll head on into his store again. Might as well check it. He's got enough money and definitely has enough keys. So heading on in, winds up finding Greed, but as you see, about a 2 to 3 hit fight. Nothing to be scared of. So sitting at 15 cents now, Cobalt has enough money for another store on the next floor, should there be anything good in there. So as you see, he's not going to worry about coin pickups now. He has plenty enough money, like I said, to buy a full price item in the store. So again, in a race situation, with your race mentality, if you will, you're basically not going to worry about it. Yes, he's walking through the center of that room to get that coin, but it was on his path. So he's not going to worry about coins at this point anymore. Yeah, judges would be nice too, but they're kind of random and it takes time to use them as well. And like I said, no need to backtrack. Even those 2 extra steps, it makes up a lot of time when you add it up throughout the span of a run, when you really think about it. Now, keep in mind, 2 rooms in a row doing that. And again, now 3 rooms in a row where he doesn't go all the way top to bottom to grab those 2 coins. Think about the amount of seconds that'll add up, and we've seen some very close races here. And again, we're not even going to worry about those item rooms. Like I was saying, Cobalt on into his boss fight, his second straight, well, not second straight, but second Horseman fight in this run. So he'll take on War this time. And there you see the troll bombs will spawn for you. This is base version of War, so they don't move on you, thankfully. But again, all you have to do is watch out. It's basically a tower card that you have to watch out for. Halfway through, you'll knock him off his horse, make him chase you around. And here comes the fun part. I was going to point out, when you're charging Brimstone, you walk a little bit slower. Therefore, Cobalt's dropping bombs in front of him, which actually stop the movement and progression of War. So that's a really good way to keep him away from you in this situation. Ooh, that's tough to pass up. Spirit of the Night would have been kind of nice to be able to fly for Cobalt. But again, kind of low on hearts there, not going to take that chance. And in this case, looks like he is going to go back and find that item room here. Again, plenty of keys for it, and not plenty of time, mind you, but he's got Amy worrying about her boss fight here on Caves of 2. And she'll be taking on the Husk, so she'll be on down to the Depths 1 momentarily here as well. And again, one of the other fun parts you see, if you're worried about those shooting at you or taking a pot shot, stay far enough away from them, but after they shoot, walk right in and those will not do contact damage to you that you saw on Cobalt's side. So there is that item room. Bomb bag. Very, very good thing, actually. Every couple rooms Cobalt clears, that's going to spawn a bomb or two for him to add on to his total. And again, sitting only at 4. Not saying you need 8 for the final boss by any means, but 8 is a pretty nice number of bombs to be sitting at when you get to the Womb 2's boss fight. And especially in the race situation, if you're not worried about keeping bombs after that, you'll see everybody go through all 8 bombs if they could. So good chance of picking up a few extras there. He'll be on down to the Depths 2, which reads only as Necropolis this time. If you get the second floor expansion version, it doesn't say the number on it. So not an XL floor, but an expansion version here for Cobalt on Depths 2. We got Amy on the same expansion type of floor back on Depths 1, and you see the 1 in her lower left-hand corner. Excuse me again. Wow, look at this, and immediately internal compassing himself right on over to this boss fight. CobaltStreak, like I said, probably at this point may be happy enough, and yes he is. Heading right on in to face Mom's foot. Again, unless that's a telepill he's holding on to, he is stuck in this room. Let me point out something really quick there. That was not a brimstone glitch. That is just a graphical thing. When you take damage, it looks like brimstone's firing like 2 different times. It actually does 2 ticks of damage, so you actually just see both of them. It's really kind of confusing. It threw us off the other night with the Awakened Smokes race as well, because it did something even stupid glitchier with that. But again, no, that was, you would have seen even more damage tick off if Cobalt was glitching that, so I'm just going to point out right now that that was totally normal what just happened. Melting through his mom's foot, though. Going to grab himself stem cells, health container, and a little bit of shot speed increase, which, yeah, doesn't really help you here in the case of Brimstone, but it is health. That's the important thing. J-Bond, thank you very much. Holy crap. You guys are going way above and beyond tonight. Like, this is seriously getting kind of crazy. Thank you all. Again, thank you, J-Bond. And you don't have to worry about chatting. Seriously, no, I appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, the oh-so-popular double Gemini fight. Cobalt's going to hang on to his bombs here as he knows he may have to get back through this room, so he doesn't want to bomb on through this yet, and he's got plenty of damage. It's not really that long of a fight. There you see with the last 2 bits remaining, 1 or 2 more shots of Brimstone ought to do this. Indeed it will. So 2 of clubs will double up. Oh boy. Actually, it's the amount of bombs he has, so now Cobalt's up to 12. I was going to say, I thought for a second that he had the 2 of spades, and I'm like, oh boy, 198 keys. Wait a minute, that's the one for bombs, and I'm stupid. So doubling up his bombs, really, really good find. They're up to 14 total now. And Amy on into her item room. Not the greatest of things, but at some point you're going to have to replace that D6 and hope for something better. In this case, number 1. Or not number 1, good lord. Can't think of names today. Lemon Mishap. Good god. So that's going to spill out much the same way that holy water would in a circular pattern. It's not lemonade. Let's call them like we see them. But it's going to spill that out on the ground. Anything that walks through that circle is actually going to take damage. It only stays for a few seconds, so you have to be kind of quick about it. And Cobalt just looking for 1 boss fight down here in the womb. There's no more item rooms, no more stores to come across. So the only thing that he has to spend money on is either an arcade or maybe a judgy spawn. Again, probably not going to be too worried about grabbing items. He's got a pretty darn nice build going for him. There is that boss fight. So again, looking to finish off his Womb 1, staying 2 floors plus ahead of AwesomeitsAmy here. CobaltStreak will be taking on Death, and there you see the bombs come in very handy, especially against boss fights. That's 40 damage per, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, is it 20 with base and then 40 with Mr. Mega? I'm being stupid tonight. This is what happens when I don't get enough sleep, guys. First world problems. Wow, I can't even talk now. Jeez. Anyways, third cube of meat possible. Cobalt wants no part of having Dirt Boy around. He's got plenty of bombs, and by the way, when you pick up that third cube of meat, you don't have his orbital anymore, so that would turn into Meat Boy walking around chomping on enemies. And we call him Dirt Boy for a reason. He's not the brightest star in the sky, guys. He will kick your bombs. He will just sit back and not actually hit enemies. I'd rather have the orbital, and so would Cobalt, obviously. I do not blame him. It's 40 with base and 80 with Mega. Thank you. Again, I can't remember numbers this evening. I knew it was doubled up with Mega, I just couldn't remember exactly which one was which. So let's see, holding on to that Polaroid is CobaltStreak. He let beyond that Bloody Penny, which if he would have picked up coins, would have had a chance to spawn a half a red heart every time he did so. But again, coins not really a worthwhile pickup down here in the womb, and he doesn't really need those red heart spawns if they were to exist either. So he isn't going to worry about it, keep his Polaroid with him. And double card will be a 2 times damage multiplier to a heart, so full heal Amy first things first. She'll take that double card with her. I like that move as well. See if she can do this without actually hitting a spider web. That's the worst part, is when he gets slowed down. I also like what she did right there, leaving the room and coming back in to make sure that that wouldn't actually trigger the trap on her. Good news for CobaltStreak as well. Is really, and then it gives him a world card? Might as well pop it for fun. So you can see his entire mini-map, but doesn't really matter. He's onto his mom's heart fight already. Whereas Amy on the left-hand side is now cursing at her game because she's dealing with the Mask of Infamy, which is by far one of the worst boss fights you could possibly see. This is like the most time-consuming boss. But again, with that, at this point, basically 3-floor advantage is CobaltStreak on the right-hand side, looking to take a 1-0 lead here. Again, all he has to do is get through this mom's heart fight. Plenty of health left with 5.5 containers working for him. And again, plenty of bombs. He's just going to walk in, drop one in the center, build up his brimstone charge. And in this case, he kind of got trolled by Meat Boy shooting his bomb away. And same thing on this one. But keeping the same pattern going. Walk in, drop a bomb, fire your brimstone. Walk in, drop a bomb, fire your brimstone. All you ever have to worry about until this point where she stays out the rest of the fight. Then maybe you push your bombs like Cobalt's doing. Very nice move right there. So again, give it a second or two to get out of its invincibility frame, then you can push it forward, or Mom could push it right back at you if you're not careful. But very nice dodge right there. One more shot for Cobalt, gets rid of the Globins, and has himself a 1-0 lead. Amy, you can reset that and don't even have to kill that god-awful boss. I guess that's the bright side of things. Seriously though, very, very nicely done there, as Cobalt with a really nice damage up build on that Brimstone has got himself a 1-0 lead at the moment. So again, very, very nicely done. You see, we're going to get them both reset, just so I save you guys all this flashing of these screens going back and forth. I'm going to flip it over to the ad screen. But again, 1-0 lead right now for Cobalt. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes time here, and we'll see if Amy can tie this up in 1, and keep the dream alive of breaking Cobalt's undefeated streak. Or if Cobalt can win one of the next 2 matchups here, go 16-0 in the regular season, and have that, and, well, he already has home field advantage. I'm me, just speaking stupid at this point. We're going to run 2 minutes of ads. I'm going to unstupefy myself, and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We got round number 2 just about to begin here, and I keep forgetting I don't have hotkeys. One day I'm gonna remember that, so it won't matter much anymore. Hopefully I'll get my casting computer back up and running next week. On that note, as you can see, we got CobaltStreak with a 1-0 lead right now over AwesomeitsAmy on the left-hand side. So, Amy has to win back-to-back matches here, trying to end Cobalt's undefeated streak, which has lasted since last season. He hasn't lost yet in BOILeR, guys. One more win on his side here, going through the room 2. Either of the next 2 rounds, he gets one of those wins, and he's 16-0 this season, our second possible undefeated within the regular season. That is crazy to think about. And like I said in chat, I called this year that we wouldn't even have one. I figured with the competition this year, Cobalt was going to find his match at some point. He almost has a few times. But again, trying to be the second of our regular season undefeateds. Unreal. I cannot believe we might have 2. And there you see, moves into the center of the room. These 2 are on a call together. Let me get you a link again into both Cobalt and Amy's channels. And I almost spelled Cobalt's name instead of Split on here for some reason. So let me get you a link into their channels. Wow, am I just off today. So let's see, a couple flies there on Amy's side. There's a link for you. So go say what's up to Cobalt and Amy. Wish them both good luck here. So strong, he's taking over my bot. Nobody said I was the brightest. Alright, early item room here on Cobalt's new side. And again, we got Amy finding her item room and boss fight. Sister Maggie, not a bad way to start. Cobalt's got a follower with pretty good damaging tiers. So he'll take that and be off and running. Speaking of followers, we got Amy with Robo Baby. He'll fire out laser tiers. And she'll be on to her first boss fight just seconds out of Cobalt, who will probably find his in a room or 2 here to the left. I assume nothing this year, and Cobalt will tell you the same thing. At one point in the beginning of the year, he asked me, he's like, how many wins do you think it's going to take to get into the playoffs in the AFC? And I flat out told him, like, probably 10, and he literally went through his schedule with me right there on the spot, and like, okay, I can actually see losing 6 matches. This is kind of frightening. Okay. So yeah, we figured it out pretty quick that it was probably going to take about 10 wins. My guess was pretty accurate. It's going to take 9. So I was pretty close. I was only off by 1. I'm kind of okay with that. But he sat there and assumed that he was going to lose at some point this year. So it's amazing, again, like I said, that we have 2 possible undefeateds. We already have 1, and we're going to see if Cobalt can follow up here and do the same thing that he did last season. All right, all sorts of pills. Ooh, 2 health up pills. Very nice. All sorts of health containers for Cobalt. And again, he'll take that one as he walks on into his curse room. Is now... Why not? So bombs are key. He'll flip around as 1 key and 1 bomb, so that didn't really do anything. He's holding on to a range down pill, which will do absolutely no good for him either. But knowing where his secret room is. Yeah, not getting lucky. He's going to gamble real quick and walk right back out. And Amy, you're first on the basement too. Cobalt just now following suit. And again, Cobalt's got the expansion cellar version here, so nothing too much to worry about with that, but you're going to see a lot more spiders, for example. And right as I say that, the spiders appear. Ooh, Emperor card on Amy's side is going to teleport her directly to a boss fight when she uses it. Again, that's far more useful later on in the run, so she'll hang on to that for a while. Ooh, and a super gluttony fight on Cobalt's side. Now, this has got a chance to give you a couple of halfway decent items coming out of here. If nothing else, maybe a red heart heal, so not the worst thing. And again, he is trapped in this room. Cannot bomb back out of mini-boss fights. So no choice but to kill it or reset, and he's okay with his run, at least at the point. He's got a lot of health up and that Sister Maggie going, so he's just killing this off. And not that terribly long of a fight. A couple of cents in that heal. And Amy's second item room going to produce more cards for her, so the deck of cards. Going to get Justice this time, which gives you 1... Oops. Wow, that wasn't what was supposed to happen. She was trying to hit the Justice card there, and it picked up the Emperor card for her, like, as she used it. That was kind of cheeseball. So she teleports into her boss fight. That wasn't what was meant to happen. The Justice card was going to spawn one of every item for her. But wow, that game just screwed her over again. So, a couple bombs in the room before, 5 more bombs and poison damage on all those for CobaltStreak now with Bob's Curse. Yeah, that was just mean. Like, she wanted that Emperor card for later, and it just hosed her out of it. That was pretty evil. On that note, though, hey, to Famine, Because he is the boss fight for Amy, so that was evil, but she'll backtrack most likely for the other card now. Ooh, Cobalt into a cursor, I'm going to find the miter, so now 50% chance at any red heart that spawns, like the one out of the poop right there. See? Stuff does spawn out of poop, guys. But again, any chance, or you get a 50% chance, I should say, of any red heart, again, like the one in the center of the room, would have spawned as a blue heart for him instead. Amy with that cube of meat again, so one orbital for her that'll block shots and do damage. She's onto her caves. Cobalt really quickly behind her is going to fight Pin. Ooh, did place that well. Wasn't really sure that that was going to actually spawn in the right spot, but health up, one-shotting his boss. Cobalt's on down to the caves. Getting a Curse of Darkness, so no mini-map on his side, but an immediate item room location. Ooh, and that Forgive Me Now pill, that's definitely not worth it here. That would reset your entire floor, including getting rid of both space use items, the Forgive Me Now pill and the D6 you would have to put down to use it. So again, not worth it, especially, well, in a race situation. I could find uses for it, but not in a race. And especially, caves is a short floor, but I still wouldn't do it, even with a Curse of Darkness. And again, that's one of the reasons I could see making use of a Forgive Me Now pill, is if you had like an XL floor in the womb or something like that, or got a Curse of Darkness in the womb, maybe then it's worthwhile. But again, it all depends on what you're holding onto space use-wise. Ooh, Cobalt's favorite item, the Habit, showed up in the store. Again, in a race, yes, it's handy, but not with the D6 he's holding onto right now. And again, he doesn't have quite enough money for it, so we'll see if he comes across any change. If not, that's going to get left behind. If you get hit, or when you have the Habit on, I should say, you get a half charge on your space use item. And with that Stars card, Amy's going to teleport into her item room. Another not so useful one, the Razor Blade, would damage you to up your damage, and yes, that will stack with itself too. But again, to damage yourself to get that damage up is a bit of a risk in this situation. So clearing out one more room, she'll head right on down to her caves too after she makes her way back. And another immediate item room on Amy's side. This one's going to produce, ooh, very nice item. So the Odd Mushroom fire rate cap out, not just increase, but fire rate cap out for a little bit of damage down. But you fire like an Uzi at this point. And Cobalt finding his boss fight in that Curse of Darkness, so he's going to take on the Hollow. Just barely make contact with that bomb. This one should work better. There we go. So that's how to bomb the Hollow. Little bit of range up with Mom's heals again on his tears, and he'll be moving on down to another Curse of the Lost floor, so extra rooms on this floor for Cobalt in his caves too. Also a Catacombs expansion version of it. Again, though, not that frightening early on. Here's one of the problems though, you notice on Amy's side, she actually got a champion version of these enemies, and you don't want to see those guys. Those are nasty early. And doing a good job staying far away, letting Robo Baby do some work for her. There you see the other problem is after you kill it, its orbital actually comes to life. But again, you can just leave the room instantaneously. She's found her boss fight again instantly too. Cobalt's found his item room on caves too, but Amy just about done with hers will be looking at... Ooh, Pestilence, so a second cube of meat for her to be adding onto the one that she's got. That'll make Meat Boy's head instead floating around her, shooting out tears as well as its original abilities. And Cobalt finding Monstro's Tooth in his item room. That'll summon down Monstro to land on enemies. Just like you're going to see there. And that may or may not be a one-time use thing. We'll see if Cobalt actually puts that back or not. It's not that bad against bosses either. At least you get some extra damage in, so that may go with him too. And indeed it's going to, so we'll head on over to the right side hoping for his boss fight. Amy just about halfway done with hers. And speaking of that, but he did find it at the end of his hallway, so Cobalt will be in the same room momentarily. And there's that second cube of meat for Amy. You see Meat Boy's head floating around her now. And she'll be on down to the depths. So you might as well grab that key for the next floor, and Cobalt will be into his first boss fight, or second boss fight for the caves. He's got the husk. Ooh, and just missing with, well, not his fault, but just missing with Monstro there. And you can see you can actually impede the movement of the husk with placing a bomb down in front of it. Cobalt melting on through this. Amy hoping for a key as she's got her item room right away in the depths. No such luck. How about we gamble a little bit? Give her a key. That's a heart, not a key. Oh, God. That's a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. So Cobalt's got a stab party going on his side. If you guys are sub to Wolf, for that matter, let's see those knives. And yes, I just quoted Crocodile Dundee. Don't sue me. Either way, moving on down. Oh, look at this. Even different here. We got an Ayamera room on Amy's side with a 6.66% chance of teleporting. The second time this week we've seen one of these. She's going to get away on immediately down to her depths 2. Cobalt, on the other hand, just hitting his depths 1, so big floor skip there. But again, huge item change up here as Cobalt's now got the Pact as well, so more fire rate, more damage on his tiers, which are now replaced by a knife. And again, that doubles up. Okay, let me rephrase this. Whatever your tier damage is, that's going to double it up if you just stab with the knife. When you throw it like Cobalt just did, that does another 3 times damage multiplier to it. So you have a ridiculous amount of damage on that. And again, moving into his item room, doesn't really care to find this. He's got, Magneto in there, which would draw any item with, with magnets again, with any type of metal in it. Oh my god, my head. Anyways, with any type of metal in it, obviously just like a magnet would draw it over to you, and unless you're in the Insane Clown Posse, you understand how those work. Or me, and you can't actually say the word magnet, apparently. And there you see why Monstro's Tooth comes in handy. How about goodbye mini-boss? And how about hello 2 more soul hearts on Cobalt's side? And not going to worry about the bomb there. And just looking for his boss fight. Wow, to this floor. So back to the middle. That's a bizarre layout. I wouldn't have figured it'd be up there. Wow, and it's going to break one more time to the top here. This should be your boss fight. Wow, one more room. I'll be damned. Weird floor layout. We've seen quite a few. There we go. There's the boss fight. Also, ew, to that champion knight up at the top. I don't like those champion knights in the slightest bit. Not the one he just killed, but that one. Those are much more evil. Again, plenty of health though for Cobalt. Back up to 12 hearts on his side. He's into his Steps 1 boss fight, taking on Monstro. So he'll be on the same floor as Amy momentarily here. And speaking of Monstro 2, how about Monstro falling on Monstro 2? A little bit more health up for Cobalt in the form of 1 red and 1 blue heart. And he'll be on down to Depths 2. So evening this out very quickly. Again, you can see the damage differential going on here between Amy's tears and Cobalt's knife. And I should point out too, Eve's bird foot, chance that when you get hit that you actually have Eve's dead bird show up for you trying to damage enemies. And I emphasize the word trying because it's pretty stupid. Man, that bomb bag loves Cobalt tonight. Again, every couple of rooms he clears out, that bomb bag's going to spawn a few bombs for him. More importantly, into his store, he just found himself a compass. Might as well take the health, too. The compass is the important portion. Notice now on his minimap, he can tell just about where he's headed to. He knows where his special rooms are, doesn't know the layout of the floor to get to it, though. So it's an educated guess, but in this case, it's pretty obvious you're heading to the right. And there's Amy's boss fight, so again, no item room yet. Does have a library, doesn't have keys, though. Also has her store right here. That's a hell of a setup where you got a store, a library, and your mom's foot fight. But my guess would be, unless she winds up with a key, she'll be heading in to try to catch up to that room Cobalt just moved into here, where he is melting through Red Mom, which is the best version he could have come across, by far. She's just going to stamp her arm out a few times. That troll bomb kind of screwed him, but he doesn't care. Super Bandage gave him 1 more red health container and 2 soul hearts, one of which got lost. But again, moving on down to the womb 2, takes the Polaroid with him, or the womb, I should say. 2 meaning also, not the number 2. Sorry, I'm confusing sometimes, I apologize for that. Either way, making his way on over towards his boss fight, you notice it doesn't show an item room or a store with his compass. There is just the boss fight for him to come across. just like that, how about a clear room? Cobalt now gaining a 1 full floor advantage here, so that comeback happened real quick. Amy was a full floor ahead, and suddenly now Cobalt is. So he's taking on Green Bloat, normally quite frightening, but with this damage, it's already over. So he'll wait for the blood to clear, pick up his box of items. Well, now he's got the tick. That was kind of trolling, it just spawned on top of him. Thankfully, we're not going past the Womb 2, because that could have screwed Cobalt in the playoffs. Anytime in the playoffs that happens, you're going to have to be real careful of that. So I guess that's a forewarning for the next couple weeks, guys. Not next week, but the weeks after where you have to go upwards. That's going to get scary. Either way, now he replaces the, and it doesn't really matter, he might as well have it. Tick's going to do an automatic 15% damage as he walks into Mom's Heart here, looking for 16-0 on the season, undefeated again. All he has to do is melt through this. Unbelievable how quick these womb floors went. An unbelievable season yet again. Ladies and gentlemen, your defending champion is once again undefeated in the regular season of BOILeR. CobaltStreak. Unfreaking believable on this.